Hello, all. My name is Bryce Payton, and this is my EDL 850, module number 1. So, a little bit about me personally. I was born and raised, and I currently live in Wathena, Kansas, northeast Kansas, about as far as northeast as you can get, um, right next to St. Joe, Missouri. Happily married to my wife Hannah for 6 years. It'll be 7 here in a couple short days. We have 2 beautiful daughters. Parker is 4 and Hallie's 2, as you can see there in those 2 pictures. We are avid KU fans with the big national championship. That was awesome. I love coaching and interacting with my kids, and I enjoy spending lots of time relaxing on the weekends with my family and doing different various activities with them. So a little bit about me professionally. I graduated from Washburn University in 2015. I got my first teaching job at Riverside through DCEC, which is our co-op special education in our county, and as a special education teacher, 3rd through 5th. I enjoyed it, but after 1 year, a job came open in our district, and I accepted the middle school, the 6th through 8th PE at Riverside USD 114. I'm currently the head football coach and baseball coach here at the high school. So moving on to government control of public schools. So first, the top would be federal government. Some things that the federal government is in charge of. The first one would just be the pass federal budget to fund public schools. And it's usually between 8 and 10% of the budget that gets passed down to the public schools. They ensure every child in America receives the same quality of education. That is important, obviously, for various reasons. And that goes from, making sure that as I'll touch on here in just a minute, from the students with disabilities to gender to races, poverty, socioeconomic status areas, make sure that everybody's getting the same quality of education. They identify problems or concerns in the education system, which then trickles down and encourages the states and then locally to make the necessary changes if needed. Collect data and research to evaluate performance and identify strengths and weaknesses. There are plenty of strengths and weaknesses that the public schools have, and they get to sit back and look at all data, and everyone in the teacher realm knows that you can't just look at scores, you can't just look at data and say whether something's working or not working in the present tense. So that's difficult to do for them, I know for sure. But and lastly, they make sure that there's proper funding for students living in the poverty, like I mentioned, or students with disabilities, which is a lot of where the money goes towards public schools, is making sure the students with disabilities. And their mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering education excellence and ensuring equal access. So next, the state government. Obviously, I teach in Kansas, so the KSDE is a big part of what our school talks about on a regular basis. Some of the things that they do, providing and allocating funds to us. They give portions of the state money down each to the public schools. They set and oversee standards, assessments, curriculum. Common Core was a big deal, setting the standards and what needs to be taught in assessment for assessment time, and that everybody knows that time's crazy. Ensuring special services are being met for all students, providing licensing to me as a teacher and all staff members, and licensing to all private and public schools in the state of Kansas. And they send oversight from state officials to the local branches as well. Excuse me. So lastly would be the local government. Schools are governed locally by school boards responsible for overseeing a specific school district. I live in Wathena, and our district is a co-op district with Elwood, which is another small town. And we have a school board of 7 and 3 from each, and then an at-large bid. And I think they do a good job, but they are in charge of overseeing and developing policy, manage and allocate resources, and adopt school budgets. They deal with the school calendar, salary schedules. They hire and employ the district superintendent and staff as well, and adopt any curriculum or change any curriculum that needs to be changed. So our board specifically promote current and future success by, first off by volunteering and being voted upon by those in the community to uphold standards given by the state and work together for our district's best interest. I think that's really, really important, and that's great that they take time out of their day weeks and months to do just that. Manage the district by creating and managing budgets, creating, revising policies that need to be involved in hiring process of staff, or making the final decision on the recommendation of the superintendent, and making financial decisions that are big enough that they need to make. Communication from the board to the public is in person at board meetings, so everybody is open to attend the board meetings if they want to. There's also a paperless meeting center that you can call in and listen to the open sessions. The minutes are put in on the school website, and as well in the local newspaper. Data informed and other school resource plans would be brought up by the superintendent most likely and discussed as a group. This is one thing where executive session may be needed, depending on what kind of plans they're trying to discuss. And implementing any laws, rights, policies, regulations, anything like that will most likely be discussed in executive session. And if something needed to be voted upon, it would have to be voted upon in open session. So my personal experience is for the federal government, for public schools, I have not had any interactions or experiences with the federal government regarding public education. For state, we've had governors come and talk to us in the past, in our beginning of the year meetings and such with our whole district, and they generally come in and talk about money on test scores, but that's about the most extensive that our state has come that I've had a personal experience with. And my teaching license actually just expired, or will expire here in July, on my birthday, so I just had to renew mine, so I'd send in my hours and get that done. So we have to do that quite often. And the local, have a much, obviously when further down you go, you have more personal experience. We have a negotiating team in each, or person in each building that meets that we can give our feedback to, or any suggestions we'd like to see in our negotiated agreements or for the following year. We're also a small district, so I am familiar with all the board members. Born and raised here, that generally happens. I have sat in a few meetings, and I'm currently a sibling to one of the board members as well. So it's yeah. So when you're in a small town, like I said, you're going to know a lot of them, and I have been interviewed by a few of them for different positions in the years, whether it be coaching or to my teaching job. So my standard correlation. This assignment demonstrated correlation to the standard by allowing me to apply my knowledge in government control of public education and pair that with my gained knowledge from the resources to gain a better understanding on the operating system of each school level of governance and how it applies to the laws, policies, and regulations in the public education. I would rank these 4: management, communication, operating systems, technology, in that order, because I feel like management has to be the top priority, and then inside the management has to be the communication, and then that will drive the systems that come along with it. And like I mentioned down here, as important as technology is, I feel that the others are more important in this setting. My relevancy, this assignment was relevant to my current learning. It allowed me to gain more knowledge on each branch of government and what they're supposed to do and what they're in charge of, and how those policies and laws and stuff keep everybody in check. Just being a current regular teacher right now, I would like to see, more of a chain of command that somebody like me, just a normal teacher, can easily follow and understand and grasp this information, and being talked about a lot more than what it is. And my reflection. The assignment will change the way I teach, by understanding the levels of government in the public schools in my district and make them run efficiently. As I get older, or as I go through the process of this course, and in the future I get a school leadership position, I'll have to know these types of things, and who's in charge of what, and how that will affect me as an administrator and school leader. This assignment will help me in the future. Like I said, the obvious one would be to understand what each level governs and in charge of what, and the second will just be importance of the local school board, and how quickly they can impact and directly they can impact right onto our district. So thank you very much. Here are my references.